Hello and welcome to Spotlight On. Today I am chatting with American rock singer and songwriter Miss Suzi Quatro. Hello, Suzi.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, my darling. Are you fine?
Well, fine is a big word. None of us are fine, but we are all just surviving this situation. So hopefully we'll be coming out the other side soon. Anyway, yeah, I'm as fine can be in this particular point of time.
I know it's hard with all this isolation. The people are like climbing the walls already, you know. But it's not going to be much longer. I think we'll be back to normal around about September time. I think everything will be back to normal fully. That's what I think, anyway.
Well, I was my isolation has started March 17th when I left Germany after my 3 premieres of Suzi Q, my documentary. Which were canceled, but the press are there, so I had to go, and one went ahead, which not bad attendance. My husband lives in Germany, I live here, and then I got back. I was afraid I wasn't going to go back. I was really nervous that everything, because things were closing down, borders shutting, and I was petrified that I was going to be stranded somewhere. I didn't want to be stranded, and I got home. But we haven't seen each other since March the 17th, so that's difficult.
Oh, it will be very difficult. I know I'm in the same boat, having seen my girl for a long time, you know, and it's like, you know, you can chat and Skype and everything else, but it's not the same as having somebody there. It's not. Right. Tell you what we'll do. Let's start from the beginning. So, okay. Suzi, where were you born?
I was born in Detroit, Michigan, 1950, June the 3rd. I am a typical Gemini, and if you're not into it, it doesn't matter. I have studied it, so I'm into the star signs a little bit. Born and raised in Detroit. Traveled since the age of 14 doing gigs, but then it's when I was 21, I came to the UK and settled here and put down roots here.
I'm a Cancerian, so I'm hard outside with softish sugar inside.
Like a baby on the inside.
Yeah.
Thank God thank God for your chalet.
Yeah, I need it. Right, there's a bit of a story behind your surname, isn't there? Would you like to share about it?
Say again?
There's a bit of a story behind your surname. When you first came, your surname Quatro.
Oh, my surname? That is my name.
Yeah, but it was short, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Going back 2 generations, my grandfather on my father's side was Mikhail Quattrochi, which means 4 eyes. And he immigrated to America when he was 9, joined some brothers there. And they took one look at his name on Ellis Island survey, and they said, "You are now Michael Quatro." So he became Michael Quatro. Anyway, settled down, got married, had some kids. My dad was born Arthur Quatro, and I was Susan Quatro. And the first question everybody asked me is, "What's your real name?" Well, that's my real name.
That's your real name.
And I wondered, maybe the story you're talking about is I wondered with Mickey Most, when I first signed with him and I came to England, and I said to him, what do you want to call me? And he said, "You kidding me? Are you kidding me? What do I want to call you? You have the best name I've ever heard."
I know, it's a brilliant name.
It does sound like a stage name, doesn't it? It really does.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I thought I'd ask that question, because a lot of singers go by a stage name, but that is actually your real name, but it's only abbreviated.
Yeah, the one thing I'm very proud of is that everything about me is real. And I say it all the time. My husband, who I've been with for 27 years, that was the first question he asked me when we started talking, and the flirtation just began. The first question, "What's your real name?" And I said, "Well, my real name is Suzi Quatro, and you'll find out that everything about me is real."
So, going back to the early days again still, who influenced you when you were younger in your musically?
Well, there's so many influences. I can jump and change it, but the first one was Elvis Presley, and I was 6, and I saw him on American television, the Ed Sullivan Show, and my elder sister was screaming, and she's 9 years older than me, and I was going, "What are you screaming?" And I looked into the camera, and I watched him, and I became just I just had this feeling when I saw him on that show that I would do what he did. And I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's very young. Then after that, when I formed my band, I was very much into Otis Redding.
Yeah.
I used to call myself Suzi Soul. I was very much into Billie Holiday. I have her phrasing, and huge, gigantic fan of Bob Dylan. So bass playing wise, it's Jameson from Motown, the 60s Motown Funk Brothers,
Yeah.
and the Can Heat guy, and Donald Duck Dunn would play the same. Yeah, those are my influences.
So tell me about the influence that Mary Weiss had you on from the Shangri-Las.
Oh, I saw her. I used to dance on a television show in Detroit called Club 1270, and you were supposed to be 16 to be able to be part of the regular audience, like American Bandstand. I lied. I won't go to heaven. Anyway, they had me in the regular audience dancing, so I was up front, like maybe a foot away from all the artists that appeared, and one of them was Mary Weiss. And I was only 15, maybe even younger, and I looked at her and I just went, oh, she had, for want of a better word, she had balls, which was unheard of back then. I liked her a lot. Since that time, when I've been working with BBC Radio 2 for many, many years, I've interviewed her, and I told her this, and she said to me, "You cite me as your influence? Are you kidding me?" It was very sweet. But yeah, she had a certain bossiness that didn't exist back then, you know. I mean, it wasn't what I did. That was something different. I took it to the nth degree, but she was good. I liked her. I loved the Shangri-Las. I thought they were very sexy and very ballsy.
Yes, well, to pity they only had two hits in this country, didn't there? Was and one was an A side and a B side. Rainbow in the Sand and Leader of the Pack. Sorry.
Yeah, just great stuff. They were melodrama at its finest.
Yeah, I still think today, you know, the film Grease, because you loosely filmed around that sort of that song. Basically, I would think so. Oh.
Which one?
The film Grease.
Yeah.
No.
It was a whole era of music. It's the funny thing about the Shangri-Las was, if you twisted it on its head, women were the victims always, and but for some reason, Mary Weiss was able to sing a victim song, and then being the winner. So I wasn't quite sure how that worked, but I liked it. It was a girl after my own heart.
Yeah, I love that band. I'd have loved to have got a chance to interview Mary, sorry, but it might happen. So, moving on. Here's one. Is it true that you picked up your first instrument at 7 years of age when you performed with the Art Quattro Trio?
My first instrument was the bongo drums. Absolutely true. I always fancied myself crazy as a beatnik. I always thought I would be sitting in coffee houses, smoking a cigarette, beating on my bongo drums and reciting my poetry. But I was 7 and I asked my dad I begged him actually. I said, "Dad, I would really like some bongo drums for Christmas." And I just left it with him. And then about 3 weeks before Christmas came, I started looking around the house for my Christmas presents. And I went into the closets and under the bed and tried to see what I was going to be given. And lo and behold, I discovered a beautiful, beautiful brand new pair of obviously expensive bongo drums. So me being me, I'm honest to a fault. My dad came home from work and I said, "Dad," I said, "I saw my Christmas present." He said, "What did you see?" I said, "I saw the bongo drums." He said, "Do you mean those ones in the closet?" "Yes." And he went very quiet. He said, "Do you really think I would give a $200 pair of bongo drums to a little girl like you?" And and I forgot about it and hid my disappointment. And then Christmas, I opened it, and there it was. I got my bongos, and I still play them now. I play on lots of records, and it was my first actual learning instrument. I learned how to play it. Then I learned classical piano, and I can still read and write classical piano. I play a lot of the classics. And then I taught myself bass guitar at 14.
At 14-year-old, you taught yourself bass?
Yeah, because we started a band at 14, and it was two sisters, two of the sisters in my band, in my family, which was 2 out of 4, and another girl whose father played in my father's band, funny enough. And we decided after seeing the Beatles that we wanted to form an all-girl band, and we did. And we were all on the telephone together, screaming after the Beatles, and everybody sort of spoke up real quick and chose an instrument. And I was a little bit slow to speak, which is unusual for me. And I just kind of went, wait a minute, wait. What am I going to play? And one of my sisters said, oh, you're going to play the bass. I went, okay. So I asked my dad, and he gave me a Fender Precision 1957, the best, the Rolls Royce. And I put it on, and it was me.
Yeah.
A lot of people say when they see me on stage, it looks like the bass. I was born playing the bass.
Like it's so natural.
It's natural, you know.
So that band that you formed, was that the Pleasure Seekers? Because that was going to be my next question.
That was the first band, and then that turned into Cradle for about 2 years, and then I came to England after that.
Yeah. Now, 1971, you did move to England, and how did you meet Mickey Most?
He came to Detroit with Jeff Beck and Cozy Powell. He was there to record them at Motown. And my brother, who was kind of helping out with us with Cradle, second wave of Pleasure Seekers, and he found out Mickey was going to be in town, and he invited him to come and see the group. And Mickey did, and he only liked me. Completely only liked me, offered me a solo contract, and that was the second offer I'd had within a week. The first one having been from Elektra Records, who also offered me a solo contract. So this was sort of in my whatever's going to happen to me. This is going to happen. I had to go solo, so I did. Yeah, it was obvious it was the time to leave.
Yeah. Now, a year later, you became support singer for Led Zeppelin and Slade. Is that how you broke into the glam rock, or was that just pure coincidence?
I'm not glam rock at all. I never have been. Never. I'm rock and roll based. And it was Thin Lizzy and Slade, and it was Slade had their first nationwide tour in 1972, and Thin Lizzy were opening. I had just gotten my English band together after moving from America to England and recording and not really doing much but recording. I finally formed a band, and Mickey Most, who had recorded the Animals, and Chas Chandler was the manager of Slade, so Mickey knew him, and he asked Chas if he would put me on at the beginning of the show. So he did, and I had 20 minutes at the beginning of the show. And that was the first gigs that I had with my original English band. And we went from there, and it was great, and we got our sound together, and we started to happen. And then after the Slade tour, obviously that was November, December. Yeah. By May, I had my first #1 with Can the Can.
Now, talking about Can the Can, right? Now, you do online bass lessons, don't you? You do like the bass lessons. I was watching one of your lessons, and you were talking about a certain bass riff that's only ever been performed once by, I think it was The Who.
Oh, that was yeah. There's in my generation, I can't remember, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one of those anorak people will tell me I'm wrong, but I can't remember anybody doing what John Entwistle did in my generation. But that bit, and I was like, wow, that's great. And when we came to do Can the Can, and Mike said we need something here, I put in those little bass triplet things. And everybody's commented on them since, It was good. It was an unusual thing to do at the time. I did say it in my bass tutorial, unusual, and it worked. And yeah, I'm glad I did it. I did it after John, he wanted to buy my bass from me.
No, it's actually, it sounds brilliant. And the way you put it through, it's like down, then it goes up an octave, then the third octave, and it just slowly, gradually eases up and it sort of explodes. Brilliant. Loved it. Now, yes, you perform several types of musical genre. Now, you were classed as, I know you're a rock and roll guitar singer, but you were classed as glam rock here, but you've also done power pop, you're classed as garage rock, hard rock. What's cock rock?
Well, I don't know. It's funny that they applied that to me, and I'm a female. Isn't that funny?
I know.
Yeah, I am just. I would say, if you ask me my opinion of my own style, it's very whatever it is, it's natural. I'm reluctant to give it a name. I think I'm pretty much based in the original feel of rock and roll. Mike Chapman one time said in an interview that if you're talking about authentic rock and roll, you won't get somebody more authentic than me. That was his comment, and he was my producer for many years.
Yeah.
I am pretty much rock and roll, but I have a taste of the boogie. I have a lot of Motown in me. I have a lot of all the different influences, but I've never been glam, not glam. My sound is based in rock and roll, and that includes ballad rock and roll and rock and roll. But because of my upbringing, because I played bongos, I played percussion, I played classical, I played with my dad. I have a huge, huge range of influences, but I think basically most people would say I am rock and roll.
You are rock and roll. Now,
there you go.
Yeah. Well, tell what we're going to do, Suzi. We're going to have a break for some music. All right. I'm going to play some of the tracks from the early days, the Pleasure Seekers, and also up until today as well. So stick around, stay with us for about 10 or 15 minutes, and I'll be back with you shortly. How's that sound?
Okay.
Right. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of our exclusive interview here with American rock singer, songwriter Suzi Quatro. Welcome back, Suzi.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
TV and film. Right. Let's go with this one. How did you get the part of Truscadero on the US TV series Happy Days?
Right. Well, obviously, I'm based on this side of the world. Even though I toured America a lot, I was based here. So I was in Japan on one of my numerous Japanese tours. I did many, many, many. Legend there. Even a sake named after me, Quattro Rocks. I was called by my American publicist, and he said, there's an American show called Happy Days. I didn't know because I didn't live there, and it hadn't come to Europe yet. And he said, they would like you to come and audition for a role. I said, okay. And he said, believe me, it's worth your while. I trusted him. So I flew over from Japan to LA, and I wore what I call my street leathers, not my jumpsuit, but what I wear on the street, my jacket and trousers. And I went in and met the producer and the script writers and everybody else. And the producer, Gary Marshall, he said to me, he said, you're very clever to come dressed in the part. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, she's called Leather Tuscadero. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. And I'm just dressing like I dress. Anyway, needless to say, I got the role. So I met the Fonz, I met Ronnie, and we're all good friends today. I made the decision to branch out and do acting, which I always knew I could do. Yeah. And it was a great decision because it was a great show. I am honored to be even a part of that show.
I used to watch it all the time. I loved it, all the time. Happy Days. Brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
You starred in a film directed by Clive Baker, Nightbreed. I found out. Is that correct?
Which one?
Nightbreed.
Nightbreed. No. What happened with that was, I'll tell you what that is. What's the guy's name? I remember the guy's name.
Clive Baker.
That's it. He wanted me to be in that and offered me the role. I nearly took it, but the role entailed me being naked in a scene. And I said, I've never made my name that way, and I'm not going to start now. So I said no.
Well, I would have done the same, actually. Me naked, that's no good. You would scare people away.
It's not what I do, but I have done since then. I did Dempsey and Make, Please. Yeah. I died in that one. I've done Absolutely Fabulous. I've done Midsummer Murders. I died in that one too. So I've done musicals. I've done Annie Get Your Gun. I wrote a musical called Tallulah about Tallulah Bankhead, and I played the lead role.
Yeah.
I've done many, many, many things, all to do with the entertainment industry. I can act. I always wanted to, and I can, and I will do more. I'm an artiste.
An artiste. So before we move on to what's happening today, on a personal note, right, I think that you paved the way for most, if not all, of the female lead singers in the rock music industry of today. What do you think?
Well, I'm not a lead singer as such. I am, but I am a musician. And that's how I paved the way. That's how I paved the way, because lead singers, there were millions, but not like me. Nobody had done it. I had no blueprint. I had to make it up as I went along because there was no niche for me to fit into. I had to create the niche. I'm happy about that. I'm happy because I stuck to my guns. And as much as the pressure was around me to maybe alter my persona and be like this one or that one or this one or that one, I said, no, I stick to this. Even though it's not been proven that this can happen, I stick to this because if I can't be successful being this, then I choose not to be successful. So it makes me feel good that my instincts were correct, and a lot of people followed after me. Hooray! I opened the door. I didn't open the door. I kicked it down.
You kicked it down. I was going to say you didn't open, you kicked it down. Now, your latest album, which is incidentally written by and produced by your son, Richard Tuckey, No Control. Would you like to tell our listeners more about that album?
Yeah, sure. It was written and produced by myself and my son, Richard Tuckey. I think it's maybe even my finest album. He is a fine guitar player. He wanted to write with me for a long time, and I kept just not feeling it was right. And finally he came to me and he said to me, I need to write with you. I went, right, okay. And we started. He showed me a riff, and I said, yeah. It was, what was the first song we wrote? Don't Do Me Wrong. Mm-hmm. And it worked, and we went into the studio, and we did 2 or 3 demos, and then all of a sudden, you know how these things happen, we were serious. And I said to him and the engineer, I said, we're making an album. And they said, yeah, we are. And I went, wow. So it was organic. It was not planned. I said to them, I don't want to try to write a song in any direction. I don't want to write a Suzi Quatro song. I don't want to write this. I don't want to write anything. I want to just write what comes and let each song have its own voice. And the critics have gone nuts on this album for that reason. They've all picked up on that. That's organic. I'm sure you have as well. Yeah. It's an organic album. There was no pushing in this album. You're just enjoying the songs. It's an album of great songs.
Now, this is what I'm looking forward to. The documentary, Suzi Q. And now this documentary, it's about your life, isn't it? But it's about everything. And it includes some major contributions from big hit singers as well. Tell us more about that one.
There's a lot of big people. Okay, where do I start? It's on my bucket list. I started to make a documentary about 15 years ago, and a lot of things got in the way. People that were part of it decided they didn't want to give the permission because they didn't like how they looked on camera, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It got shelved. Then somebody approached me about 4 years ago from Australia, and he said to me, he got in touch with me, and he said, I'd love to do a documentary on you. And it's always been on my bucket list. And I said, okay. And he said, I have to tell you, first of all, I'm not a fan. And I went, right. Okay, interesting way to break the ice. And he said, don't get me wrong. I love your music, but I'm not a fan. I said, okay, I get that. That's fine. So then I said, obviously, why do you want to do the documentary? And he said, because I saw you on a TV show and you fascinated me. And I thought to myself that if I'm going to do one of these, this is the right man to do it because he would be objective. He wouldn't be up my backside, oh, you're wonderful. He wasn't that kind of guy. So I said, yes, I like your attitude. Let's do it. And I only have a couple of ground rules. First of all, I have editing scissors, which he didn't like, which nobody likes. And I said, and second of all, the most important thing about that is whatever is in this film, if it's true, if it's real, even if I'm cringing, if I'm uncomfortable, it stays in the film. And he trusted me, and I trusted him. And there were moments when I want to crawl out of the theater, and they are the best moments in the film. So, great film called Suzi Q. Rave reviews. The critics are just saying, wow, what an honest documentary. And because of the reaction to this documentary, I'm now signed to do a movie of my life, which is the next big thing, which is great. Yay.
Wow. That's marvelous. Now, but the Suzi Q, it's only available in certain countries at this moment, but is it getting relaunched again, or is it getting launched in other countries, or is it available now everywhere?
It's okay. It's because of this pandemic.
Yeah.
It's been a difficult situation. So it first came out where it was made in Australia, naturally. And then it came out in the UK. I did premieres in Australia when I was on tour. I did premieres in the UK. 92 cinemas in Australia, 52 in the UK. Now it's starting in Europe. I did quite a few premieres there. The American thing, it got canceled at the last minute. It's supposed to be Frisco, right when everybody shut down. So
Right.
mine was the lead film in the San Francisco Film Festival. But now it's not canceled, it's postponed. So I will be booking up and going back on the road. But it is a great, I think you can buy it at certain places, Amazon and different things. And I know it's been on Sky Arts maybe 4 times already. And it's worth seeing because, if you're gonna hear the story of the first female to be a successful rock and roll musician, stroke rock singer.
Yeah.
There's nobody else that can tell you that but me, because nobody else did it before me. Then that's not bragging. That's just saying that's the way it is. So if you want to see the true story, you got to hear mine. You got to hear mine. It's a good reason to watch it.
Yeah. Warts and all, everything's there. Is that right?
Absolutely. Warts and all. Absolutely. Yeah. And I actually said to the director, I said, it's funny. I don't want talking heads saying how wonderful I am. And the funniest part is talking heads is in the documentary saying how wonderful I am.
Yeah.
So you got to laugh at that. That's really fun. They're actually in there.
So, right. So we've touched on certain things. What else does the future hold for Suzi Quatro?
Okay. I'm now the option for a second album has been taken up, so I'm now using this lockdown because my son's on the road, I'm on the road, and can't be on the road. So we're now writing for the second album. We've got about 10 songs done, and they're coming out fantastic. We're making little demos in my home studio. The movie, lots of gigs. I hope. I'm not done yet. I am not done. I do not accept failure. I do not accept lockdown. As soon as this is over, I'm opening up, and that's it. That's all I got to say.
I was going to say that because the next question was going to be, after lockdown, are you going to be touring again? Yes, you are. Suzi's going to be on the road.
1,000,000%. You can't stop me that easy.
So, finally, Suzi, is there anything you'd like to add? Any thank yous or shouts outs you want to mention?
Well, I've been very much active on the social media because I've had the need to connect and reach out to people. I've really felt that need, and I've been on Instagram and 2 different Facebook pages and all my sites and blah, blah, blah. This is a time for connecting with people, It's a time for reaching out. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, famous or not famous, black or white or green or yellow. Nothing matters right now. Nothing matters other than being in touch and communicating. And I'm going to leave it right there.
Suzi, it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you. It's honestly, it's great. Many thanks for joining us here on Spotlight On.
My pleasure.